Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to show you some records from my latest haul. And in this haul of records, I made some new additions to my MoFi collection. I do realize ever since summer, so the past 6 or 7 months or so, not been a good time for MoFi. MoFi's been getting some heat from people over the whole one-step process, the DSD digital transfer in the chain of their one-step process. That's been getting a lot of criticism lately, and MoFi's been getting a lot of criticism lately. And everybody's entitled to their opinions, of course. But just speaking for me, I have no problem with MoFi, including that little digital step in the one-step process. It doesn't bother me at all because the records still sound, in my opinion, still sound very good. And I still like what I hear, and I'm still bringing MoFi records into my collection and having a great time with them. So, with that said, I'm going to show you my latest MoFi additions to my collection. This one here, this is one of the one-steps I was telling you about. Ultra Disc one-step pressing by Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab for the album I, Robot by Alan Parsons. Yes, so same process as Michael Jackson's Thriller. Taken from the original master tapes, transferred to DSD, and then from there to Lathe. And we have this record, and it's in the thin box. Just like Michael Jackson's Thriller, this plays at 33 1/3. I do believe there's a 45 RPM version. I don't have that one. This is the copy I have, and I absolutely love it. It sounds great. This is the inner sleeve that goes inside the box. And then the back in gold lettering. I hope that shows good on the camera. Hope it's not reflecting too much glare from the light. I actually love the thin box because it doesn't take up too much space on the shelves. So I actually appreciate the thin box. I actually like the look of it. And there we are. This is the replica of the album cover. This would have been the back of it. And this would have been the gatefold. So here we go. Well, it is the gatefold. I don't know why I'm saying would have been. So there we are. And of course, now we have the record. And it has that MoFi black and gold label. I actually love the way this looks. I love the label, the black and gold label. Really cool. And as far as the sound mix of iRobot, wow. Wow. Just like Thriller, the first time I spun this in this music room, this one-step, MoFi one-step version of iRobot. First time I spun this, man, magic. It sounded like absolute magic in here. The mix, the remastering mix sounds fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Like Thriller, they open up the soundstage and so much detail that you could hear, and with these Alan Parsons records, there's a lot of layers of instruments and keyboards and sound effects and rhythm guitars, percussion, drums. There's so much going on in the mix, but it doesn't sound cluttered and like blah. It sounds fantastic, and the mix is so good, especially on the opening instrumental iRobot. It sounded amazing. I really, that's all I can say. It just sounded absolutely amazing. I mean, there's these bells, or orchestral bells, towards the end of the opening instrumental track that sounded so crystal clear. I think that just jumped at me when I remember that just jumped at me when I first heard it. I just couldn't get over how clear and separated everything was, and now it was a complete different listening experience, because I have this on vinyl already, real old used copy I bought years and years ago. And I was always happy with that because I like the songs on the album because the music's really good on this album. If you don't own it, it's a great album. But this mix really made my ears perk up, That's how amazing it is. It sounds absolutely fantastic. All of side one was just, I was blown away by it. By the time I got through side one, I was already completely blown away. One of my favorite songs on here is Breakdown, because it has the big chorus at the end. A lot of voices in the chorus. Freedom, freedom, we will not obey. In this mix, that chorus sounds amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Such a beautiful sound coming out of the speakers. So side one blew me away. Side two was an even more wonderful, magical trip. Especially the very last song, which is Genesis chapter 1, verse 32. It's such a gothic sounding song as far as the use of the instruments, and it is just an amazing mix that they got off of this record. I mean, it's hard to put into words how wonderful it sounded. That first time listening to it in here, like I said, it was so amazing. I was blown away by this. Absolutely 100% blown away by the mix of this I, Robot from Alan Parsons. One of my favorite albums to spin, one of my new favorite albums to spin now in the record room, besides Thriller, because this is getting a lot of spin so far because I'm just blown away by the upgrade of the mix on this compared to my old vinyl copy. It's like night and day difference. It really is. Not to mention I love the music on this. It's one of my favorite Alan Parsons records. Hopefully they'll do more Alan Parsons records in this treatment because it sounds absolutely amazing. I am 100% sold on the one-step pressing of this album. It just absolutely fantastic. And that's really all I can say. I was blown away, absolutely blown away. As I was with this mix from Yaz upstairs at Eric's. Really cool vinyl mix. Different style of music, early 80s synth pop. Really good stuff. Sounds great. It's on the Silver Label series. The same series that I have my In Excess records and my Tears for Fears records from Mo-Fi, Mobile Fidelity. There's the label there. The opening song, Don't Go, sounds so cool on this remix, or remaster, I should say. Oh my god, it sounds so good. I mean, the whole, like Alan Parsons, the whole side one's fantastic. But Don't Go, I've never heard the song sound that good until I started spinning this, this particular pressing of it. The keyboards sound amazing. Alison Moyet's voice is amazing. Is absolutely. I mean, she has an amazing voice, and to hear her on this remaster, oh my God, it is larger than life. They made her sound larger than life on these records, on this album. I mean, on side two, the big songs were the song "Only You" and "Situation." "Situation" sounds absolutely amazing. With this remaster, it is a killer pressing of this album. Like Alan Parsons, I did have this before on an old vinyl pressing, used. I got used, and I bought it. I mean, now that was just going off of how much I like the songs, so I already knew I liked the album before I spun this. But once I started spinning this, I noticed a huge upgrade in the mix and the sound quality. It was undeniable. It sounded undeniably better. All my favorite songs just roared their way out of the speakers, and I was I was in awe of this. It sounded great, absolutely great. So, Yaz, upstairs at Eric's MoFi Silver Label series. Very, very good. Very, very good. All right, the last one I'm going to show, and this one I really am in love with. Sounds so good. From Dire Straits, Love Over Gold. The MoFi pressing. This is the 2-disc set because this plays at 45 RPM. 45 RPM. And, you know, those first two records, the sound quality really blew me away. This floored me. Absolutely floored me. I also had this on a used vinyl record, but it was kind of partied out. I bought it used for like $4 or $5 because I really liked the music on it. I mean, of course, I like Telegraph Road, but I love the song "Private Investigation," even though it's more of a. It always reminds me of a spoken word type of song. It sounds very, very dark with some beautiful guitar on it, but it was always one of my favorite songs. I have it on a 10-inch single on a 10-inch record. And the mix on that one was really, really good. So that was like one of my favorite songs on this album. The 10-inch single, the mix on a 10-inch single, I thought sounded superb. This blows it away completely. This 2-record set, like I said, playing at 45 RPM, is such a amazing sound coming out of the speakers. I really love the sound quality that comes out of these albums. They're a very thick record too. So here is side 1, which has the song Telegraph Road. Oh yeah, I'm on the right side. For some reason I thought I was on the wrong side. And to hear Private Investigation, so you know, very long song, so it takes up most of the side of this album. Very little space in the dead wax there. And then we go to listen to Private Investigations. As you can see, there's more dead wax than there is an actual music on this record. But it sounds so great. It sounds so great. Hopefully you could see how much space this one song takes on this side. Not much space, but it still sounds fantastic. Amazing. I love the mix on this. Absolutely love the mix on this. I mean, this was, out of the 3 I'm showing you, as far as the quality of the sound in the mix, this is probably my favorite because it just sounds amazing. I mean, they got a great recording to begin with in the early 80s when this album first came out. It was a great production to begin with. And MoFi just made a good thing sound a whole lot better with their mix and the way they engineer these albums. I absolutely love the way they sound. So I am so glad this is in my collection now. This is the second record. You know, it's going to look exactly like the first one. But I'm going to show it anyway. These records are so well made. They're so well made. The mix sounds incredible. It's a huge upgrade to what I had of this album previously in my used vinyl copy. It is a night and day difference. It is a night and day difference as far as the quality of the music, of the sound, I mean. And of course, great music on this album. This is before Dire Straits kind of went with the classic rock Brothers in Arms album, which is a good album, don't get me wrong. I love that. But that song Money for Nothing, I always thought turned them into a classic rock band. But this is before that album came out, and probably one of my favorites from Dire Straits is this record. I absolutely love this album. The music on it's so superb. But the remix, like I said, the mix they put on, MoFi put on this, as you can tell, I'm like struggling to find the words to express how much I love it. But, oh man, do I love it. God, it just sounds fantastic. So that's why I'm a little surprised that so many people criticizing MoFi, which I think is too bad because they put out some great sounding records. They're one of my favorites to listen to on my sound system because they make my sound system sound so amazing. So those are my three latest MoFi additions to my collection. Very, very happy with all three of those albums. They sound amazing. Okay, let's move on. Two more reissues that came out recently from Rhino. This is the series that says Start Your Ear Off Right from Rhino. And this is commemorating the 75th anniversary of Atlantic Records. It's Billy Cobham, Spectrum. And there's the hype stickers there. This is a repressing of this album. And here's the theme throughout all these records I'm going to show you. I had a real beat up used copy of this album on vinyl just because I just wanted a copy of it, and at the time that was the only one in the record store, so I bought it and was floored by the intense, amazing drumming on this entire album. And I was happy with that. And I was happy with that copy because I really love the music and I love the drumming on this record. There's some incredible drumming on this record, and that's an awesome gatefold. That is a gatefold right there. If you're a drummer, yeah, that's a great gatefold. Anyway, this is a repressing of this album, and it sounds fantastic. A lot better than my original, which wasn't hard to do because mine, like I said, mine was pretty partied out. So I'm very happy to have this upgrade to it. They did a wonderful job with the mix, and it's pressed on clear vinyl. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Woohoo! Nice. Very nice. So it's really cool to have this reissue of it. It is. I don't have much of a jazz collection. I'm not that big of a jazz fan, though I appreciate jazz because there's some incredible musicians on those jazz records. So I'm not very knowledgeable on jazz, but and I don't even know if this would qualify as jazz because it's the drumming's so intense. And it doesn't really come off to me as jazz, but I guess it is. But to me, it's just really good music with some excellent drumming on it. The drummer in me can't help but listen to this, and I'm blown away by the entire record, sides 1 and 2, all the songs on it. And there's just no denying how great this album is. And it's just like I said, it was so nice to get a repressing of it and an upgrade to my Beat to Hell copy. My partied out Beat to Hell copy. It's nice that I'm bringing in a nice, clean, beautiful pressing of this album because it, as good as the music is on this record, it deserves to have a better pressing of it in my collection, and now I have that. So really, really happy with that. So Billy Cobham, Spectrum. From the same series, Rhino, Start Your Ear Off Right, and the 75th anniversary from Atlantic. This is the same series, another repressing of a record I absolutely did not need from Genesis, Selling England by the Pound. Always loved this cover. One of my favorite Genesis covers, album covers. I don't know why. I can't explain why this one I really like. It just, I don't know. It's a vibe. The picture is a vibe by itself. Once you start listening to the music on it, and like the previous record I showed, it is on clear vinyl. Let me just get side 1 going. Here we go. Yeah, it's on clear vinyl, and it is very cool to see that label on clear vinyl. Oh yeah, the famous Charisma label. It's cool to see that on a clear vinyl record. And this is a really good cut of the album. I have the remaster box set on vinyl and on CD and surround sound CD of the early '70s Genesis records with Peter Gabriel was a singer. So I already have a remastered copy on vinyl of this album, and it sounds fantastic. I believe this is the same, pretty much the same remaster mix, just on a clear vinyl. I already have too many copies of this freaking album. Different pressings, foreign pressings, whatnot, and like I said, the remaster that came out maybe 10 years ago or so. So there's really no reason for me to be buying this album again, but I already have the repressing from Rhino for Duke and Trick of the Tail. They were on colored vinyl, so I thought, why not? What's one more? And so this is a new addition to the many copies I have of selling England by the pound on vinyl. But like I said, it's a good cut of the album. Very good cut of the album. It actually sounds really good. I've spun this a couple of times. It sounds great. One of my favorite Genesis albums, because it has the big songs on it, like Bert the Fifth and Cinema Show and Dancing with the Moonlit Night. One song that I never used to like on this album is The Battle of Epping Forest. I always used to skip over that track because that song always took me the side one is a great listening experience. Then I flip it over to side two, The Battle of Epping Forest starts. And it's a real long song. It's a very lyrically wordy song. There's a ton of lyrics in that song. And I never thought the words and the vocals blended very well with the music, because instrumentally it's pretty interesting. But the words and the music, the instrumentation just never blended well to me. So it always took me out of this album, because coming out of the side one, I'm all in. This is a great album. Then I start side two, and the first song that comes on, by the end of Epping Forest, I'm just not into the record anymore. That song always took me out of this record. But with this cut, I don't know what it is. I was able to stay engaged with the song, and it never took me out of the album when I started spinning this particular vinyl pressing of it. That was weird. That was odd. It was unexpected, because normally I always skip over that song on the first initial listen of this new remaster or reissue. I thought I'd give it another shot, so I figured, okay, I'll tough it out and sit through it. I ended up really enjoying listening to that song. And I don't know if there's some kind of remixing going on or whatever. It just hit me different, and I was able to enjoy it. So it didn't take me out of the album. And then when I eventually got to the end of the album, I was still all in, so that was great. So I don't know why that made me like that song more than I normally do, but anyway, this is the last record I'm going to show. This is a short video. I've been getting to a lot of old school R&B records from the late 70s, early 80s, and this is one that really reminds me of my childhood, because my older brothers loved this album. Therefore, I heard a lot, and I can't get this album cover image out of my head. It is from Confunction. It's their album 7. This album cover, I used to love this album cover when I was a kid, because I think it came out in 1980 or 1981. Can't really see a year on here, but I believe it was 81. I want to say 81. Yeah, 81. I was right. 81. And going through my brother's records, I would always see this cover, and I don't know, as a kid, for some reason I thought this was just a cool cover. This and Earth, Wind & Fire's All in All. I thought those were cool album covers. And so when I got a used copy of this record, here's the back of it. I don't know if I showed that or not. So it was nice to get a used copy of this. And once I started spinning it, oh yeah, this took me back. I love old school R&B. It's on the Mercury label. Old school Mercury label. it really took me back to watching Soul Train on Saturday mornings. There was a lot of R&B radio shows in my area on Saturdays. There was a college radio station here for the University of Pacific, and they have their own radio station. KUOP was a radio. Those are the call letters. And I remember every Saturday they had a R&B show. And you would hear the music of Confunction, The Time, and Earth, Wind, and Fire, all the what are now considered old school R&B classics. When those songs were new, we would always tune into KUOP FM, and they played a lot of Confunction on that show. And when Confunction eventually came to Stockton, which is the town I live in, they did a concert downtown. I remember that Saturday, because the show was on a Saturday, KUOP just played, I think, like a solid hour of Confunction jams. And just to get everybody psyched up for the concert. I wanted to go to the concert, but my parents thought I was too young to be going to a concert, and they wouldn't let me go. And my brothers went, and they told me how awesome it was. To make me feel better, Confunction did a autograph signing at the Tower Records here, when we had Tower Records here in Stockton. And so my brother and my cousin, they took me to at least get the guy's autograph. Parents said I couldn't go to the show, but at least I could meet him and get their autographs. And they were real nice guys. They were all cool dudes, and they signed everything I threw in front of them. So, and they were real good to me. So, real nice guys in Confunction. I'm sure they were there to meet. They were hoping a lot of female fans would come to the autograph signing, but me being some little bratty kid, they treated me real nice. So I got good memories of Confunction from back in the day, and real glad to relive those memories with this record. All right, that's it. I'm done reminiscing here. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment. Let's get a comment. Let's get a chat going as always. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. Stay good out there, and I'll see you at the next video. Later days.